Oh, that was a fun noise, wasn't it? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the AccelerateKID's Tech Time Workshop. Hey, it might be a surprise that I'm back with you here today. I'm hello, Anson, and hello, Nicole. Yeah, the last time we talked on Friday, I said that Zach would be teaching you today, but he actually got reassigned to teach a different class. So I will be with you again for the next 2 weeks. We will be together in our advanced coding workshop. And forgive me with the time here. Still can't get my time right, but we're going to be working together from 2 o'clock till about 3. Hey, I do got to let you know, we'll have to end today about 10 minutes early or so. So, yeah, teaching another course right at 3 o'clock, so I'll have to jump to that one. But let's get started. So we are going to be here together the next 10 days with the Advanced Tech Time Workshop. So we're going to take what we learned in the intermediate class using the theme of art, and we're going to take our coding concepts and our programming to the next step, and we're going to apply it through the theme of game design. So over the next 2 weeks, or the next 10 days that we're working together, we're going to create a portfolio of game projects that we can share with each other and share with our friends and our family and our teachers and our fellow students. But hello, everybody, and welcome back. So let's get started here by getting onto Google CS first, which we are all familiar with. So we're going to open up a Google CS First tab in our browser. And all right, by now we're in the advanced course, so I know you can all get logged on by the time we start together. So let's try to arrive at our class and be signed in to Google CS First. And I do have a class code for you here today. So we will be putting in our class code, but let me find my passwords real quick. Let's see. All right, so we're logged on to Google CS First. And once we're here in our dashboard, once it loads up, we should see only our class from last time. So last time we were together, we were working on our intermediate code workshop. So you should only see that here, or else classes you've done in the past. Maybe you did a beginner course in the past. But today we're going to be working on advanced. So let me get you our class code for advanced, which is here on the screen. So yeah, this might be worth writing down. So I'm going to put this in the chat as well. So this is our class code for the next 2 weeks. We're going to be using this class. So NR7DGW. So what you're going to do with this is in your dashboard here. So in your dashboard, you're going to go to on the top left, it should say join a class. So right now I'm in teacher, so it says create a class. But let me do that for you. So when you sign in, let's say you're the student and you got your CS username and password. So where it says join class, you're going to want to put in our class code right there. So once you put in this class code and hit next, you should be able to see this blue Tech Time Virtual Coding Workshop Advanced May 11th through May 22nd class. And we are going to want to open this up together. So we press the blue, and of course, just like in our intermediate class, we have 8 total activities that we're going to be working through. And with each activity, we have about 7 or 10 different pages. And we want to make sure that we're working through all of these pages. It says, all right, why are there 3 for me? Okay, I'm just looking at Anson's real quick. I'm not sure why there's 3 for you. That's interesting. But Anson, you should surely see. Let me go back to my classes here. And Anson, what you need, what's most important, is that you have this blue Tech Time Coding Workshop. All the others, we don't have to worry about those right now. But the one that says Game Design, and make sure it's this class code NR7DGW. So if you have other classes, you know what? Don't even worry about them right now. But this is the one we want right here, the one with class code NR7DGW. And, okay, why are 3 of me? Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, wow. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. That is very interesting. I can try to remove a few of you. He likes it. All right. Don't get too distracted by the multiple duplicates of yourself over there. Make sure you're not distracted by that. But anyways, let's continue forward. So other than Anson being multiplied by 3, let's go to our game design in Google CS first. And we're going to click there. And again, we have our 8 activities that we're going to work on together. And let's just look at the overview. So it says, students learn basic video game coding concepts by making different types of games, including racing, platform, and launching. So yeah, we're going to learn the basics of game design through these activities. And we only meet for about 50 minutes to an hour every single day. And that's not enough time for us to learn this, in all honesty. So outside of our workshop, I want to make sure that you two are working on all of these different pages within each activity. So just because we're not in workshop doesn't mean it's not time to work on code. So make sure that between our sessions, you're going through and watching the videos, following the directions. But here with number 1, there should be a quick survey at the bottom. So I've already submitted it. Let's just take a minute to do the survey if it's not done already. So I'm just curious, do you need to do the survey at the bottom of the page, or is it all complete? So Anson and Nicole, if you have to do the survey, scroll down and complete the survey here. So again, we should be logged into our intermediate class. So back with our classes, we should be advanced. We want to be in an advanced class, not intermediate. So click on your game design for advanced. It should be blue. And we are going to get started with activity 1. And we're going to scroll down past the video to the bottom. And all right, so you've both completed the survey. Yeah, and you did that in our intermediate code. So it's the same survey. But let's click next. And let's see, so we have this Scratch overview, which this would be a good review for you. So after class today, you can go through these videos. But let's skip up into page 3 that says, what is computer science? And let's just talk about what is computer science real quick. So computer science is, it allows computers to create cool projects to solve challenging problems. I just wanted to show you this woman, Ada Lovelace, and she was alive, I think, in the 17th century and 18th century. So the 1600s or 1700s, she was alive. And I think she's from England or Europe. And her father was a famous poet. But anyways, Ada Lovelace is a famous mathematician, and some people call her the analytical countess, or else she's also referred to as the mother of computer science, or the grandmother of computer science. So it was Ada Lovelace. If you ever do a Google search on her name, she's a really interesting character, and she's developed this mathematics, and she's predicted all the ways that computers would be used to do things for us, like make music and pictures and help us solve really hard math problems. So if you get a chance, do some research on Ada Lovelace. She's a pretty cool character. But anyways, computer science, again, allows computers to create projects to solve challenging problems, and that's done through computer languages. So a computer language is a set of directions that allow that a computer will follow. So there's different languages that create web pages like JavaScript. So JavaScript is the language or the set of directions that creates web pages, like the ones like Google CS First and Scratch. So those are built using JavaScript. But you also have languages like Python, which are used a lot in more of data science and machine learning and artificial intelligence and even robotics. You have programs, but there's many computer languages. There's many sets of directions that we can give to computers so they can follow. But the computer language we are going to use in our class, and it's something that we're all familiar with, we are going to use Scratch. So over here, let's open our Activity 1 starter project, which launches our Scratch tab. And let's make sure that we are signed in to Scratch. So if you're not signed in, on the top right, use that same username and password that you used to log on to Google CS First. So use that same username and password. Let me find it here. And you already know this. So get yourself signed on to Scratch the way you have. So Anson, you got CS4573232 and 12 newspaper. And Nicole, you are CS4713100 and password 21 honeycomb. But I will sneak that around because I'm sure you know that. And let's see. So we have this starter project signed right here. And we got ourselves signed into Scratch. So the next thing, let's remix this project with the green remix button at the top in the middle. So by clicking that, of course, this starter project is going to be saved into my stuff. So let's see my stuff here. Scratch has been a bit slow because a lot of people are using it. The servers are pretty full, but it does work, so be patient if it takes some time to load. And on the top, of course, this is where my saved starter project is saved and lives. And I'm going to see inside of it. So I'm going to open it back up in the editor. All right, so we have this little starter project, and what we're going to do today is, so we've already worked through 3 and now 4, so select a sprite. So in a moment we're going to select a costume for our sprite, and then we're going to choose a story prompt. So today we're going to use one of these 3 themes or story prompts and make this a part of our code. So our code is going to be based off of this. So read these 3 questions and think of which one you would like to use. So the first one says, what game character is most like you and why? So think of the games that you've played through time and the different characters in the games. So for example, like Sonic the Hedgehog, you have Sonic or Tails or Knuckles or Dr. Robotnik or all these other characters. Maybe you have games like Spyro the Dragon or like Banjo and Kazooie, or maybe it's something like Fortnite and you have maybe different skin characters, but think of a game that you really enjoy and what character is most like you and why is that? So secondly here, it says, why is your favorite game or app the best? So think of your favorite game that you like to play or your favorite application for your computer or phone or tablet, and why is that the best? And then finally, 3, where it says, do you think kids should play more or fewer video games, and why? So that's a question to you, really all of these, and you choose the one that you want to work with, and we will build from there. But the one I'm going to do today is what game character is most like you and why. So what game character? So let's see. I'm trying to think of what game character would be most like me. And one of my favorites is Link from the Zelda games. And one of my favorite games growing up as a kid was for the Nintendo 64, and it was called Zelda: The Ocarina of Time. And in that game, you play Link, who's this little boy from the woods, the Kokori Forest, and the Hyrule castle in the land that you're in is under distress, and there's this great evil dark lord, Ganondorf, and Ganondorf is taking these magical stones that give him all the powers. And with Zelda and Link, you want to beat Ganondorf to all the magical stones so that good can power the world and not evil. So I feel like I'm a lot like Link, or Link represents me because he likes to go on adventures. Sometimes he's scared, but he'll go and he'll battle with his foes, and he has to solve really tough story problems. So let's see here. So I'm going to close this. I'm choosing that first prompt. You can choose which prompt you want. But anyways, let's go over back to Scratch. And we have these different characters here. So we have, if you see here, we have 2 sprites. So one sprite is called Android, and one sprite is called Transition. So with Android, if you go and look in the costumes, so next to code in the costumes, you can see there's 16 different costumes. So something you could do is you could choose one of these costumes to be your narrator. So this will be your narrator that's going to tell about the story. So I'm going to choose 12 for now. So I have number 12, and this is just the one I'm going to choose. And again, I'm going to use that prompt of what game character is most like you and why. So let's do this real quick. Let's go to stage, and let's go to choose a backdrop, and let's click where it says paint. And this allows us to make a new backdrop. So where it says backdrop 1, backdrop 2, let's delete the one that says backdrop 2 and just stay with backdrop 1, which, believe it or not, we probably already had. But I just want to show you we can paint and create new ones. But real quick, I'm going to go in here, convert it to a vector. So something we're going to talk about in a minute is we have, if you see in the backdrops or our sprite costumes, we have a bitmap or a vector. So when it says convert to vector, that means we're on a bitmap. And when it says convert to bitmap, that means we're on a vector. So right now, I'm in the vector. Hopefully that's not too confusing. And I'm just going to click text. And in the text, I can choose which font I want up here. But I'm just going to use this one called marker. And let's see, my prompt was, what game character is most like you and why? So let's see, does it fit? Let me make sure, drag in here. Okay, we want it to fit on the screen. So once you type in, we can change the size. So I'm just playing around with it here really quick. So now we can put this, and this can be like our welcome screen. So something else, maybe we want to type in here. And can I still type letters? Yep. Okay, so let's say welcome. And then I'm going to do space. And then I'm asking the question, what game character is most like you and why? So choose the prompt that fits you, and let's type it in a text in our backdrop real quick. And let's take this backdrop and title it really quickly. And how we do that is right here on the top where it says backdrop 1. Let's call this title screen. So I'm going to call this title screen. It says welcome. What game character is most like you and why? And another thing we can do is maybe choose a backdrop that we want to tell our story in. So I'm going to choose it. I'm going to talk about it at the chalkboard. So maybe I want to change my fill to a white, and I got handwriting and text, and I'm going to draw on my chalkboard really quick if I can. So again, game character like me. All right, so I'm going to put that on the chalkboard, and I'm going to move it over a little bit, and I'm going to move my character over. And I just want to show you with our characters, we can select them. So with this arrow key, we can select by dragging and dropping this box. So something that's cool is you can select the whole character, kind of move it around, make sure it's on the right point of the screen. With these corners of the box, we can shrink our character, make them smaller. We can grow our character, make them bigger. I'm going to make my character kind of small so that we can see everything. So I got this thing called Game Character Like Me. And now, with my Android selected, and my character, let's see, I am number 12. So I'm using this costume. And I'm just going to rename him my narrator, so we know he's telling the story. So I got my narrator here. And let's get him to talk. So, of course, with our green flag event, that's how we can start our code. And let's just do some talking to start. Keep it simple. So with the looks block, I'm going to grab a couple, maybe 3 or 4 blocks, and just talk about my favorite character and how it's like me. So the game character most like me is Link from Legend of Zelda. All right, I'm going to say that for like 4 seconds. And then Link goes on a lot of adventures in the Hyrule universe. All right, so that's kind of where Link lives, is in the Hyrule universe, and Link has to defeat challenging foes in scary dungeons. Yeah, so choose your prompt and choose 4 lines and just introduce your prompt and start talking about it. So if you choose the game character, or yeah, real quick, let me ask you, what prompt did you choose? Which prompt have you choose? So which prompt? So Anson, Nicole, which ones did you choose? I'm curious. So did you choose number 1 or 2 or 3? All right. So Nicole chose her favorite game or app. So Nicole, are you going to talk about your favorite game or your favorite app? Which one? Okay. And what game? Nicole, what's your favorite game? And Anson, which one are you choosing? All right. So Nicole likes Call of Duty. All right. So now, why is Call of Duty your favorite game? So start thinking about that. You don't have to answer this moment. If you'd like, you can give me some reasons why. But actually, you can just code it right into your narrator. So have your narrator tell us what is your favorite game or your app, or what is a character that's like you, or else do you think kids should play more or less video games? So Anson, I'm curious what you are choosing. Let us know when you're ready, but I'd like to know what you're working on, Anson. Yeah, so here, easily enough. So we're just talking about uh, our prompt and just saying a couple things. And let's see. So Link. So something that's cool is Link can travel through time and play music on the ocarina. All right, so now we can just run our code, and at least we have our narrator talking about our story. So pretty basic stuff. Pretty basic stuff. We've used these blocks in the past, but now let's create a little transition to our screen. So yes, something we can do. Let's create just how we have this sort of title screen. So back in stage, we have a backdrop called title screen. And then we have this chalkboard here. So we could keep it on either one title screen or chalkboard. But real quick, let's go over to this transition sprite really quickly. And if you look through the costumes on the transition sprite, you'll notice that you have 12 different costumes for this sprite. And with this transition sprite, it is a sprite, but we're going to use it kind of like a background. So it's going to be layered with our Android sprite, but we want it to be the behind layer so it doesn't overlap our sprite there. So what I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to use 11 and 12. I'm going to use costumes 11 and 12, and I'm going to use the change or switch costume command to create a little animation that makes it look like this screen is kind of flickering. Maybe I'll even use, let's see, like 8. That's kind of funky. All right, so check this out. Let's all select our transition screen real quick, or excuse me, our transition sprite, which should be hidden. And what we're going to do in our code is when the green flag is clicked, we are going to show our transition screen sprite, and that brings it to the front so that it's not hidden behind everything else. So now you see how it jumped in front of the chalkboard. And once we show, we are going to want to switch the costumes. So let me see here. Let's go in under looks where it says switch costumes. So switch costume 2. Let's grab that and pull it out. And right here, I'm going to change this to switch to costume. Let's see. Switch to costume 11. So I'm going to use costume 11. And in between that, I'm going to go to control, and I'm going to wait a second and make it 1/10 of a second, so 0.1. And then I'm going to go to looks again and switch my costume from 11 to 12. So now every time we click on this, it should kind of do this little effect. This kind of effect where it makes my screen kind of look like it's kind of changing a little bit. So yeah, so we got this here. So find a costume under transition. Find 2 that you want to use. Let's start with 2. So like 1 and 2 is a pair, 3 and 4 is a pair, 5 and 6 is a pair. So choose kind of the transition screen you want to use, be it this fuzzy or the colors. But anyways, choose your transition screen and make sure you're writing this code with the transition sprite. And once we've created this code here, something we can do is use a loop to make it repeat itself. So let's go to control and grab a repeat 10 loop. And we are going to sneak this in here. And oh, I forgot one thing. We need one more wait block. So I'm grabbing a wait block and just putting it underneath this other switch costume to 12. So this way, so first we switch to costume 11, and then we wait a second, and then switch to costume 12. And then we wait a second, and then we loop it together. So it's going to loop. It's going to keep changing between costume 11 and 12. So I'm going to run this, and let's see how this looks. So it's kind of doing this funky little effect. All right. Oh, down here it says 1. I'm going to change that to 0.1. So that just makes it faster. And now when I run it, it just kind of does this little effect here. And yeah, you could use different costumes to do this. Like for example, watch this when I use, let's use 1 and 2. So I'm going to, just in my code, watch, I'm going to switch costumes to 1. And then in here, I'm going to change this to 2. Let's see what that looks like. So that way it's kind of like this fuzzy effect. And we could make our, so that takes about a second. And then finally, after we do this effect, so we have this little effect here. I'm going to change mine back. I think it was 11 and 12. So choose the one you want to use for your transition. So right now, this is our code for our transition sprite. And let's see, let's try to smooth this out a little bit. So with our Android, when we click the flag, he's going to say all these things. But of course, we have this transition, and I want the transition to happen before we say some things. And it takes us, let's see, I think 10 seconds. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. Oh, that was pretty quick, actually. So let's see, it repeats 10 times. I think it's 2 seconds. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Yep, 2 seconds it works through. So if you have this repeat 10 times for 0.1 seconds, that means it's going to be at costume 11 for 1 second and costume 12 for a second. And it's going to keep changing back and forth. So right now we have our transition. And maybe we can make our Android start by saying, is this program working properly? Question mark. So all right, so is this program working properly? And then let's see, but it should be running at the same time. So again, for 2 seconds, for the first 2 seconds, right? We're going to say this for 2 seconds. And while that's happening, parallelly, this is going to happen. So it's going to show our transition sprite, and then it's going to change between its costumes, which gives it the transition effect. And this, I have it programmed to happen for 2 seconds. So after this, so when I press the green flag, watch what happens. So he says, is this working properly? And then we see the little effect, and then maybe we could make him say like, aha, there we go. It is working now. Then we could say, I want to tell you about my favorite game character. And now we can attach these things. So here we have a quick transition screen. And at the very end, of course, we want to hide our transition screen. All right, so now, just to show you, I have my two sprites. So I got my android, who's kind of my narrator, and I chose costume 12. Or was it 12? Oh yeah, because I changed it. Now it's 13. Okay, so I got my narrator, and I have my transition, and I chose my transition screens. And right here, we want to make sure at the beginning that we show our transition screen, and then have our little transition effect by changing between our costumes. And then finally at the end, we want to hide our transition screen so that we can just have our narrator standing at the chalkboard talking about his favorite character. So let's just make sure that this is working properly. Okay, and something we could do in looks is right when we press our... Okay, so let's just run our code and see how it works. So when I run it, let's take a look. So I got my little effect. Is this working properly? Ah, there we go. I want to tell you about my favorite game character. The character is Link from Legend of Zelda. Link goes on lots of adventures in Hyrule. Link has to defeat challenging foes. Ah, yeah, okay, so it's going too fast. Still a little too fast, so let's just play around with our time and make sure that when we have more to say, if we have more text, we can go through and make it longer so it gives the reader enough time to go through the code. Okay, so far we have just chosen an android, and we've coded this transition to just make this cool little effect. And then we have our narrator tell us about the story. We want to make sure our narrator's at the right part of the screen. So I can make sure he's down here in the corner. And then, of course, once I place him where I want him, it's going to change these X and Y values to where he's on the screen. And I like to use in motion, we have the go to. So I'm going to send my sprite, my narrator sprite, to minus 179, minus 97. So that means he's always going to be at this bottom left here. And that way it just allows us to it allows us to see the text on the chalkboard. Let's say I want to change my text. Can I select it? So it's cool. We go from vector and bitmap, but I'm going to select, let's see if I can even select text. Maybe not. Maybe it's plugged in there, but something I could do. So right now I have selected my whole backdrop. And let's see if I can. I guess I can't delete that. Once it's drawn, it's there. So game character like me, that's stuck on my stage. Yet I just want to show you within costumes. So I'm going back to my narrator here, and I'm just going to zoom in on him. So I wanted to talk a second about the difference between bitmap and vector map. So yeah, if you've noticed this, it says convert to bitmap, convert to vector map. So you might ask, what the heck is the difference? Why does it matter? So I just want to show you this page really quickly that tells us about it. And I'm just going to take this link and put it down here so you can see this later. Yet, let's see. Okay. And I see Anson, he's talking about a character, Loki from God of War. So that's cool. That's a cool character, Loki, the god of mischief, right? But anyways, over on my screen, this will demonstrate the difference between bitmap and vector images. So if you see here, it says bitmap, or raster images, are stored as a series of tiny dots called pixels. Each pixel is actually a very small square that is assigned a color and then arranged in a pattern to form the image. So if you see here on the screen, there's this little robot with this hat on, and he's juggling these green and blue balls. So it's taken one of these blue balls in his hand, and it's expanded its size by 12. So it's enlarged 12 times. And you can see that that little blue box is actually made up of a bunch of these little square colors called bits. And as they're added together in a matrix, or sequentially, they're able to make this ball object on the screen. So that ball is actually all these little colorful squares. So that's a bitmap. So with a vector map, here's an example of a vector map, and it says vector images have some important advantages over bitmap images. Vector images tend to be smaller than the bitmap images. That's because they have to store color information for each individual pixel that forms the image. And vector images, they're based off of mathematical formulas, which takes up less space. So it takes up less space on your computer's hard drive, or less memory. So what you're seeing here, this is a mathematical formula that creates this beautiful geometric shape. Whereas in the bitmap, it's a bunch of these small little squares that are added up together to create the image. So I thought I'd just mention that to you real quick. So jumping back here, we either have our bitmap or our vector. So for now, let's make it a bitmap. So whereas here we say convert to bitmap, and let's say I want to duplicate my characters. Now I have two. And for now, I'm going to select this character. I'm just going to delete it. So now we have just this open space. So I have this open right here, which is my narrator 2. What I've done, again, I have duplicated my character here, and then I selected. So as a vector, I selected, and then I just pressed the delete button, or this garbage can, and you can delete it. I just want to show you some ways that we can make our own characters really quick. So if we convert back to the bitmap, and if we zoom in, you can see all these individual little squares, and those are actually individual pixels. So when we zoom in and we get all these individual pixels, now this enables us, we are able to make a more precise painting or drawing. So I'm going to click this brush here, and I'm going to choose a color, I don't know, let's say I want to make a dog. Let's say I'll make kind of a orange dog, an orangish looking dog. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this the smallest size possible, which is 1. And let's just take a look, and we can see here, hello. So here is our bitmap. And let's play around with this. So again, we want this to be as small as possible. So go to 1, and then we want to zoom in. And here we should be able to draw, I want to find the center. So it's always the center where we have this kind of cross. So from the center, we can create objects. Like I can start with maybe a circle. So I start with this circle here. Maybe I make it more of ellipse. And from inside, now I'll do filled, and I want it a little darker. I want to create some eyes. So maybe here I'll do white. Oh, not quite. I still want this to be here. So I'm going to deselect this. And now I'm going to create a new. And I'm going to make this. Oh, it should work. My brush. Okay. And I'm going to move this. I want to change it to white. But how about this? Outline. And then from outline, I'll change it to black. And this will be like the outline of the eyes. So I'm going to take this and copy and paste it. And I just want to show you how, just this is a way, you have so much creative freedom with these, yeah, let's see. Looks like we're, there we go. So we can create these images with our bitmap. It looks like I'm freezing a little bit here. Come on. All right, my program is a little bit frozen over here. So let's see. Okay. Whoops. All right, it looks like Scratch is having a little trouble making my character, but yeah, you know, we only have 3 minutes left, so I just want you to play around, spend the next 5 or 10 minutes just playing around with the vector and the bitmap, and you can create more characters. Also, within Scratch, you can upload sprites. So yeah, you know, we have a little bit of time left. Let's work on that. So with upload sprite, if you click on that, you can actually upload files from your computer. So for example, I have these pictures. I have this picture of me skateboarding, and let's see. So I was able to use this in a different program from the past. But let's say I wanted to create, let's say I wanted to find Link from Zelda Ocarina of Time. So I can go to Google Images and find my favorite character. So here's Zelda playing, or here's Link with his sword. And I'm just going to grab Link and his sword here, and what I can do is save this image. And then I save it somewhere in my computer, like my desktop. So I'm going to call this Link 1. And let's see here. So I can save this. And once that's saved, when I go to upload a sprite, I can go and find, hopefully Link 1 is here. And now I have brought Link into my game. So now we can go to the editor in costumes, and something else we can do with fill. So one last thing, we only got a minute or two left before I have to go, but fill here. So if you click this red line that goes horizontally, it will actually erase stuff on the screen. So I'm going to try to pull up Link. I don't see Link. Where is Link here? Okay, I don't know why Link is not showing up. Yeah, but what I would want to do next is get rid of this white and gray boxes that are around Link here. That's the next thing I would do. But it seems that Scratch is having some difficulties right now. It's able to draw on the screen, but it's funny, I'm not able to see it when I work on there. So yeah, you know, Scratch sometimes with our technology, it can be a little not work quite correctly. I'm having some trouble with it now. But anyways, I would like you to keep working through the Google CS videos for today and spend some time with these add-ons. So in number, let's see, I think 5 here. Nope, is it 6? Yep, 6. So work through all the Google CS videos. And in number 6, the add-ons, you have these different things here. So you have Flickr, you have vector characters, you have bitmap characters, and adding a sound. So, hey, you know, the one I was trying to show to you is this bitmaps character. I think this would be a good place for you to start. And this will give you a little bit more understanding of the difference between a vector map and a bitmap. But let me see here. Okay, so now there are 11 of me, and I'm echoing. That's not good. So hey, let's call it for today and come back tomorrow, and we can try this again with one Anson rather than 11 Ansons. But hey, thank you so much for being a part of the Tech Time Coding Workshop today, and we will continue this tomorrow. So tomorrow we will pick up where we left off, and we will get more in depth with our coding and working on game design. So again, make sure you're working through each of today's activities and you're doing all of the add-ons, and we will pick this up again tomorrow. But until then, I will see you later.